I invite Cindy on stage, I would just like to give you her bio, and I'm going to read it to you because it's really impressive. And I certainly don't want to miss any key points out here. But Cindy, first of all, I'll say we are very grateful for you who have donated your time this morning to help others. And I know that's what you spend your life doing, is helping others. But let me give you, the attendees out there, some insight into Cindy Norcott. Cindy Norcott is a motivational speaker, a business coach, and the CEO of the award-winning recruitment agencies, Pro Appointments and Pro Talent. Cindy is also the founder and the chairperson of the well-known charity, the Robin Hood Foundation. Cindy is the author of the best-selling business book, How to Be Unstoppable. Cindy has won many awards for her entrepreneurial abilities and has won the BWA Regional Achiever of the Year and the Sutherland Free Talk Business Person of the Year Award. In 2013, Cindy was awarded the most influential woman in business and government award for services business by CEO Communications. Cosmopolitan magazine also held her as one of the 29 Awesome Women of the Year. Cindy was voted the lead SA KZN Local Hero of the Year in 2015, and for her community involvement, Cindy's presentation style combines practical advice, wisdom, and humor that leaves her audiences inspired. Cindy, please join me on stage. We're really grateful to have you on board. Welcome, Cindy.
Hi, Mike. It's wonderful to be here. And it's been such fun networking with a few people in the room.
This is an amazing platform.
This is the way the world's going, and I think it's such an awesome opportunity. None of us can say, you know, I can't see clients, I can't go out and meet people. It's too hard to market. This is a brilliant solution.
Yeah, and Cindy, first of all, again, thank you. You know, I know that you spend a lot of your time giving back through the Robin Hood Foundation, and you know, it's a big part of your life, and it's the very reason why you are so successful at what you do, and in all areas of your life. So it's really wonderful. You know, it's been a challenging year. It's been tough for SME decision makers out there. But just to give you some insight, Cindy, our audience today is a mix of entrepreneurs, business owners, corporate decision makers who are also looking forward, because these people have also been through some tough times. So it's a wonderful mix this morning. And of course, we're very grateful to you, our attendees, for taking your time out to join us this morning. But Cindy, I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind me, a couple of key questions. I'm going to refer to my notes because they're important questions. But it has been a challenging year for so many. We have about 10 weeks to go. And when everyone is absolutely exhausted and worn out, how do you advise them on how to pick up these energy levels and recharge themselves at this time of the year, Cindy?
You know, I've got quite a few ideas on what I think people can do, and what I'm really hoping people will do will be to take a pen and a piece of paper and do a little bit of a to-do list from this talk, because I really think there's certain very practical things that I am doing and have done that work. They work for the people I coach. They work for my team. You know, these are very basic things that we can do. And I know some people are going to say, I don't have money. It's not about money. It's about your effort. It's about your intention and your attitude. So the first thing is, I've done loads and loads of talks over the lockdown. I've spoken to several thousand people. Quite a few have actually been in person. I asked them one question: how are you? Tell me how you feel. And there's this pervasive sense of negativity. So I'm getting words like anxious, a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, exhausted, despondent, directionless, demotivated, guilty. Some people are guilty that they are privileged. Some people are guilty that they have a job. A lot of people are absolutely exhausted. Many people have written off the year. So my advice is, if you could spend the next 10 weeks trying to fill your cup, you can't give what you don't have. So it's very hard to be a motivator to your staff when you have nothing left. It's very hard to be great in sales when you are depleted. So I would say, you know, Oprah said something. She said, when people come up to her and say, you are so full of yourself, she goes, thank you very much. Yes, that's my aim. And I'd like us to see selfishness, not as selfishness, but as self-care. So what can you do over the next 10 weeks to fill up your cup? So a couple of years ago, end of last year, at the end of the year seminar, I asked one or two people, what was your greatest achievement this year. And one lady put up her hands and she said, I got through, I survived, I coped. And I said, we're not at war. You should aim higher. And it's amazing how so many people have set their sights lower. Through COVID and the pandemic, they've actually gone, let me get through this year. My challenge is nonsense, absolute nonsense. Let's thrive for the rest of the year. Let's turn the year around. So many people have said worst year ever. And I say, how can you predict the future? We have 10 more weeks. So what do? We do the stuff that makes us happy. I would encourage everyone to start being very aware of your energy. Get rid of the energy thieves. Start doing the things where it's high skill and high joy. That's your genius. There's a concept called the ikigai. If you do stuff that the world needs and the world's prepared to pay for, but you also are brilliant at it and you love doing it, this is when the magic happens. And I think so many people have forgotten about their passion. What do I love doing? A happiness list. So for me, at the start of the lockdown, I thought, I really want to come out of this a better person, a better leader. So the word is intentional. What are you intentional about? So many people said 2019 was terrible. Guess what? 2020 will be the same. And I can predict 2021 will be. We can't blame a year for our lack of progress. We've got to own it, but we also have to equip ourselves energetically. So 30 things that you love doing. So I'll give you examples. I love running, road running. I love walking in a forest. I love chatting to a friend that makes me laugh. I love reading. I love afternoon naps on the weekends. A lot of people are not doing these things. They're turning self-deprivation into a virtue. And something I did in the lockdown is I actually looked at my bundle of commitments and I realized I wasn't overcommitted. I was overcommitted and I got off everything. And it's been rebellious. It's been amazing. So what are you doing that you no longer want to do? What can you eliminate? They always say who and what needs to go. Hopefully it's not your husband or wife, but I think it's just eliminating the energy suckers and the things that are not working for you. A lot of people have stopped setting goals. A lot of our goals were broken. But what about setting some fun goals? Before the end of the year, I'd love to do the following 5 things. And here's another thing. So many people come up to us and go, how are you? And we say, I'm fine. And they go, have you told your face that? So for me, smiling, laughter, we don't laugh because we are happy. We don't smile because we're happy. We're happy because we smile. Put the smile on first and suddenly you'll start feeling a bit better. A lot of people over the lockdown started off with all the exercise around their gardens and then they started baking banana bread. And now, now we've got people sort of saying, well, I haven't exercised. If you want to be focused and motivated, use exercise. And then I think slow down. Some people have been busy their whole lives. And I think this is one lesson I've learned. If I want to fill my cup, I need to take advantage of this pause in time and, slow down a bit, have slow days. And so for me, I think it's also about having time to dream. So many people have been so focused on what they've lost that they haven't focused on what they've gained. We all wanted this year to be 20 plenty. And I'd like to encourage you on that side. What can you have plenty of? Maybe you might not have plenty of money, not have plenty of travel opportunities, but you might have plenty of family time. You might have time to read plenty of books. There's always a positive. So I think look at your energy. How do you fill your cup? What makes your soul happy? And treat yourself as your best friend. Once you've got that right, you'll have so much in you to give to others. Over to you, Mike.
Great insight, Cindy. Thank you for that. And I think that we all know that everyone needs that. And of course, the SME sector, we all know, has probably been the most affected. These are business owners, mercurial business owners, and no matter how good they've been over the past 10, 20, 30 years, many have suffered because of the pandemic. And now if you take the pandemic, many a time the negative connotation towards that, then looking at news channels, all you see is either Donald Trump or the pandemic. And of course, this doesn't allow our mindset to become more positive. Have you got more tips, Cindy, on how we can change our negative mindset and to become a lot more positive, especially now and beyond?
Absolutely. I think the first thing is just to be aware, am I being negative? If you think about it, so many of us are creating, we call it a burrito of misery. We literally are enveloped in negativity all around us. So a lot of people in this time have taken to watching a lot of news, getting onto social media, following things like the Corona tracker. So for me, I would encourage people to move away from all those elements that are potentially negative. You know, you don't have to be the first person to read the newspaper or to watch the news. In your first hour of the day, you should really look after your colon and your energy, you know. Try and expose yourself to the stuff that makes you happy rather than the other way around. So I think, you know, we've had load shedding in South Africa with Eskom, but I think that people have their own load shedding. What they're doing is they are shedding their own power by doing certain behaviors that are absolutely not good for them. And I'll give examples. I think South Africans sometimes could win an Olympic medal for complaining. You know, complaining, all it does is it makes us relive the experience, you know, blaming, whining, moaning, and excuses. So there's a saying, we're defined by excuses. Over the lockdown, I was quite horrified to hear how people were saying things. I even caught myself in the beginning going, things like this. Now, none of us must say this, but our business will never survive, or nobody's got money, or everybody's immigrating, or the market is dead. The thing is to ask yourself, is it really true? Has nobody got money? Where did it all go? You know, is business really dead? And so many people have used that as the reason why they're not performing to their best. I've also heard people say things that, and I think, you know, if we want to be positive, it starts with the words we use. It starts with our thoughts, because those then become our actions, which then become our habits. So here's a few things. In people in companies, if anybody's an employee in a company and they're saying, my gosh, they're shifting the goalposts, companies have to change. You know, there's a lovely statement. If the rate of change outside the organization is greater than the rate of change inside, you're doomed for extinction. So if you work in a company and there are so many changes, you can be grateful, because what it means is that the company's trying to catch up or get ahead with all the extreme change we've had. People have also said things like, that's not my job. I think in this day and age now, if you have a job, everything's your job, you know, and I think that's an important positive mindset to have. And just to say, no problem. The other thing is people saying, oh, the good old days, you know, implying that things were so much better before. But we need to create the good new days and to say, how am I getting better, rather than everything around me so difficult. And then when things go back to normal, I mean, it's the heart of craziness to think that anything is going to go back in time. Things are going to go forward and we're going to create a new normal. And I think we need to embrace it and say, what have I done to change over these last 5 to 6 months? How have I changed? If I haven't changed, it is not a good thing, because everything around me has changed. So how have I adapted? How have I unlearned and relearned? And then I think it's an important thing. I've heard people say, oh, this shall pass. You know, no, we shall pass. We are going to do better. We're going to be better. And I think it's so important of taking that power back. So what can I do in the next 10 weeks to make myself relevant? What can I do? And I mean, these wonderful questions we can ask ourselves. If our business were to start over again, who would we take with us? If our business was to go out of business, who would miss us? You know, it's a wonderful time to start going, wow, how can we be more positive? And it's not just about positive thinking, it's also about the actions that go with it. So in this time, things that I've done to try and keep positive, every morning I reread my goals journal. And you know, I really believe if anyone's serious about business and success, they will set written down goals for their lives. Now, some people say, well, it's too late, my goals are broken. Create new goals, create micro mini goals for the rest of the year. Watching TED Talks, watching motivational videos, being part of these amazing events. I think these are absolute game changers that we all need to embrace. And I think I always have a theme for the year. This year, I've changed my theme now for the last 10 weeks, and that is about being intentional and about collaboration. Because you and me makes not 2, but maybe 4, 5, or 6. And me on my own is just 1. And I really don't believe in competition. I do believe in co-opetition and collaboration. And then doing everything with intentional. You know, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And doing everything for the right reason. As you said earlier, we're not on this call to sell. We are here to help. And I find the givers are the ones who are actually thriving in this time. I'm not sure if you have any other thoughts, but back to you, Mike.
I love what you say, Cindy. Yes, I do, like you do, I do many platform talks, and this is an important part of my communication. If you look at gratitude plus positivity is the biggest springboard to happiness, and the biggest springboard to success is happiness. And what's amazing about that is you can choose it. And the one reason why people will do business with you is because they like you, for no other reason. So yes, how do you become a likable person? Gratitude, positivity, unforgiving, take responsibility. And what's amazing about these things, natural talent is irrelevant to great success. I want to choose to be successful. And before I can conquer the world, I have to conquer myself. And again, that's a choice. And that's really important. Thank you for that, Cindy. Now, Cindy, we know that goal setting and smashing goals is an integral part of personal and business success. But now we do know there's only 10 weeks left in the year. Is there enough time? Is this too little time to set goals?
No, not at all. I'm a firm believer in, there's a saying, action is the antidote to despair. So if anyone on this call is sitting there feeling demotivated, it's because you've lost your plan, you've lost your direction. So if you could start today creating a to-do list, an action list of all the things that you can implement. And the nice thing about action and success doesn't come from massive things on your list. It comes from those seemingly insignificant items done daily, which add up to create success. So for me, what I would like to encourage people is definitely, here's a question. What do I want to say about myself at the end of the year that I can't say today? In business, in personal, and in family. And I think that's a really, really important thing to do. And then to act with intention. So, everything you're doing, every single thing you're doing, even coming on this call today, is either taking you closer to your goals or further away from your goals. Now, I know some people on this call are thinking, okay, I'll get off straight after the speaker and then I'll go back to my desk and do emails. But you know what? 5 seconds of courage. Meet more people. How can I help you? What do you need? Try not be the one selling. Try and be the one helping. And, I love your concept of gratitude. I mean, I write in my gratitude journal every morning. But another thing I've done, Mike, is I have a kindness journal. And I really believe the route to success is to help other people. Help as many people as you can in every way you can. And that just comes back. So I think it's important that people have a strategy of how can I help people? What can I do today? Whether it's my staff or people out there. So I've got a few questions that I think people should be asking. So if we're sitting there and we're thinking about setting goals, what do? I don't even know where to start. Just a few things in terms of our minds, like what can I do today that'll push the lever the most? So say you run a business or you're working in a corporate, you might be sitting feeling unmotivated. It's a Friday, it feels so close to the year end and you think, oh, I'll give myself a day off. Winners don't give themselves a day off. So what is the one thing I can do that'll push the lever the most? What can I do today that will help add value to someone? What will I do today that I'm not paid to do? How am I volunteering? How am I showing up? How do I connect with one person on a deep level today? And then can I sincerely recognize somebody? Recognition is, so many people are dying from lack of recognition and appreciation. And it doesn't have to be somebody who works for you. It could just be somebody you know in your network or a friend. How do I build my brand positively today? I mean, you gave us this example of just putting our photos up there. It's such a quick thing to do. If we're going to go out there, don't be a no-name brand. Put your face up there. Put your name up there. How do I provide a blast of excitement and enthusiasm to my team today? So many people are not getting these results because they're not asking themselves the right questions and they're living in a little bit of a robotic state. It's hard at the moment. It's so hard. Energetically, so many of us are exhausted. But, if we want to win, we've got to change what we do. And that lovely question that's saying, if you don't like what you've got, don't complain, change what you do, do something different. 2 other questions are, what can I learn today? And can I tell you now, today, I won't learn from speaking. You don't learn when you're speaking, you learn when you're listening. And then the next thing is, how can I improve? So I think we need to set goals along those lines of having, elements of all the different, having actions every day that are intentional and that are literally geared to line us up for success. And I really think that when I coach people, often they leave my office with a big bounce in their step. And I always feel it's so almost fraudulent. All I've done is help them create an action plan. So when there's motivation, it's because you have a direction and you have a plan. So hopefully from today, people can create a plan and identify the direction they're going in. Thanks, Mike. Back to you.
Yeah, Cindy, and as you said, if you keep doing what you're doing and expect different results, and of course Albert Einstein said that's the first sign of insanity.
Absolutely.
And we've got to challenge the status quo, and many of us have. Swim upstream, do new things, try new things. We've got to either adapt as opposed to cooling up in a corner and dying.
Yeah.
And I think the important message, and thank you for that. But also, I talk about this a lot. If you're true to yourself and you spend your life helping others, you'll always be okay. And I think that's the key part of it. Too many people expect without giving back.
Yeah.
No matter what you've got, it could be just a form of recognition, like you say. It doesn't always revolve around financial giving. It could be providing services. It could be recognition. It could be advice. But I think more people need to do that. And that's an important part on the journey to success.
Absolutely.
Now, Cindy, we know that a lot of people right now are uninspired. I know you've touched on this, not creative at this point. What are some of the specific goals that you could think of that people could do right now to help them get ahead?
So I think obviously this is a business forum, but I would advise people to set goals along 3 categories. One is personal goals. How can I improve, grow? What are the things I wanted to do this year that I've forgotten to do or stopped doing or just been uninspired to do? The other one is the family goals. But I really want to just touch on business goals because I think this is probably the most relevant forum. So for me, this every crisis creates opportunity. So I've seen so many people who've just grown, exponentially in this time. So here I'm just going to share a few ideas of things I've done, things we've done. These are practical things. They haven't cost money. But okay, so a couple of things is firstly, your costs. Now's the time. I'm sure everybody has done it. We all thought our companies are lean and mean. Somehow we managed to cut off a lot of fat. Do yourself a favor. How do you cut another 10 to 15% fat out of your company? Have you done your line by line expenses and looked at everything and said, where are we wasting money? How can we be more creative? But the reality is you don't save yourself into success. You've got to sell yourself into success. And that's where our sales and marketing skills come in. I love that saying, timid salesmen have skinny kids. We really want fat kids. We want to be out there, we want to be bold, and we've got to have a plan. So things that I've done in the last few months, firstly, everybody should be on webinars. Everybody should be conducting them. Why? It creates credibility. As you said, Mike, people want to deal with people they like and trust, but people want to deal with experts as well. So people want you to know that you are the leader in your category. How do you do that? You give away free education. You explain, you add value, you inspire. So over this lockdown, I think personally I've done about 40 webinars for free, besides the ones I've been paid for. So you know what? I've connected more with people than I would have if there wasn't a pandemic. Looking at your marketing, now's the time to say, is our website relevant? Is our marketing material relevant? Is there a golden thread? Can we improve it? A wonderful time if your business is slow to train. Have you done performance appraisals with your staff? Have you done one-on-ones? Have you done weekly, we do Tuesday training. Have you done regular training? Have you done coaching? It's a perfect time. Have you done your strat session? Do a strat session next week. How are we going to take our business from here to there? And just a reminder to the owners, you don't have to know all the answers. In the room, you'll find the answers. I think it's such an amazing time to connect with your clients. You don't have to sell every time you connect. How are you? How can I help your business? And as you said, Mike, it's those 5-minute favors. If you're getting on social media and you see your client or your friend in business has a post, why don't you write something positive? I love this business. I think it's fantastic. Shining a light on somebody else is not diminishing yours, and I think that's important. So connection and visibility is so important in marketing. And I fear that many people have become isolated and they've become comfortable. So we have to get out of that comfort zone of of being an introvert and get out there every day. And I love that saying, be seen, be liked, and be involved. Also, other things, just the housekeeping, looking at your offices. How do we make it more professional? Have we thrown out or sold or whatever everything we don't need? Do we need all this space? You know, how do we make our workspace beautiful or make it fit for purpose? And then setting goals. You know, I think encouraging your team to, we're all going in the same direction. How do we get that? We connect, we communicate. When people are virtual, we do over communicating. Learning tech. What is the one technological skill holding you back? Do it. Something I learned pretty much from running a Gazelles course a few months ago, that's been a game changer for me, Mike, was they said if you want to 10x or scale up your business, identify 25 key influencers that you can really, really grow with. And what I did is I did that list, and every week as I'm planning my week, I sit there and I go, who can I help? It's not who can I ask business from, who can I help? How can I grow their business? Because these 25 people, whether they're press people, they could be bloggers, they could be influencers, your raving fans, your referrers, your top clients, your suppliers, non-competitors, obviously. But if I can help people every single week and be visible to them and add value, well, then I'm irreplaceable. So I think so many of us are thinking, oh, well, I can't do this because I used to go to golf days and promotions. But you know what? Everything is different now. So I think those are the things I'd like to encourage. And remember, goals are be, do, and have. So that's the goal. And it has to be smart. So it's got to have a measurement. So many people say, oh, you know, by the end of the year, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to be happy. So the question is, smart goal. How much weight? By when? And what are you going to do? What's your action plan? How will you know when you're happy? What is the measurement for that? And you're going to make money. How much money? By when? Will the money be in the bank or will it just be invoiced? So I think one of the biggest things I'm noticing is that some people have got into pandemic thinking, and it's a great excuse to not be their best. Well, you know, it's the market. Actually, no, you know, the cream always rises to the top. So we've just got to be better if times are tougher. We've got to work a little harder. We've got to care a bit more. And I think I loved what you said about caring. And there's a quote that I love, and it says, people can always tell the difference between a fake strategy and genuine care. And I think you know what, we've got to care passionately about our clients, about our staff, and about the people who are on the journey with us. Over to you, Mike.
Absolutely. And, you know, to add to goals, you know, many people say to me, Mike, I don't know if I can achieve my big goals and realize my dreams. And Richard Branson gave insight into this. You know, he said, adopt the magic of tiny steps.
Yeah.
Set tiny goals. You know, it could be, I want to lose half a kilo in 2 weeks, and then start lifting those goals. Now imagine if every single goal that we set from now, we achieved. What will happen? Our confidence levels will rise. We'll start building that unshakable belief in ourselves that we'll achieve our goals and dreams. So yes, always think big. You know, I certainly believe that. We've got to think big, but adopting the magic of tiny steps and start off tiny, small goals and start realizing them. Get into the habit of winning is what it's all about. And you know, the thing is what we did, and it's also a global survey. And to add to what, of course, I love what you say there, you know, people were asked, business owners were asked, you know, if you had to set 3 goals now, what would it be in the future? First of all, eliminate all non-essential spending, reduce debt, and stockpile more cash. Because 94% of global SMEs live from month to month. And the big goal now, whatever might happen in the future, it might be a personal crisis, it might be an economic big downturn. But those are goals. But like you say, Cindy, you've got to work on those goals and have a defined plan, measure them. But those are great examples. And then, of course, thank you for that, Cindy. Now, I'm just going to read this next question, if you don't mind me. I know that the results we get are based on the marketing we did 3 months ago. Business people need to be aggressively marketing now so that in the new year, they can reap the rewards of their efforts. Many business owners and managers have very small budgets right now. Do you have any tips on how they can market effectively on a shoestring budget?
Absolutely. And I think everybody's on a shoestring budget. And I hosted a webinar a couple of months ago on, are you financially ready for the next pandemic? because it's been horrific. I know people who've been in business for years and years, and they are one paycheck away from disaster. The purpose of business is to find a need in the market and to create a customer and to solve that need and then make money. But I think so many of us, there's a saying in America, they call it big hat, little cattle. We want to be little hat, big cattle. As you said, no unnecessary spending. So, yeah, I think we must have a small budget for marketing, and everything should work. Everything should have a return on investment or return on energy. So if I'm here today, how am I going to maximize this experience? Maybe, I make up stats. I love making up stats. But one stat I've made up is only 5% of what's promised at networking actually gets delivered. So make sure you're that person who delivers. If you say to somebody, I'm going to email you, I'm going to phone you, I'm going to send you my profile, do it. I think that's important. So I think a few things is, in South Africa, they've done research on small business, and the primary determinant of success is the size of your network. So over this time, how are you growing your network? At the start of lockdown, I would go on LinkedIn every day and look for people in the categories that I'm interested in and connect with them. I put up positive posts. And this is a big thing for me. If you've got something negative to say, don't put it on social media. You're destroying your brand. So I'm a big believer in positivity. And it's funny because I've always been like that. But over the lockdown, where everybody else is moaning and getting quite upset, I've had so many people saying, you've been so positive through the lockdown. And I'm like, I'm just being me. But when it's dark around you, that's when your light shines the brightest. So stand out, add value. And then using that network, as I said, those 25 key influencers. But what can I do with the network? I finally went onto Instagram. I hadn't been on Instagram for years. So how have you changed? Have you got onto another network? So many business people I know had been fearful of LinkedIn. They didn't know how it worked. If you don't know LinkedIn and you're in business, you've got to get onto LinkedIn and maybe set a goal. By the end of the year, I will be a fundi on LinkedIn, and I'll have 500 genuine contacts and see how I can add value to them. So the network's important, and it's not about who you know, it's who knows and trusts and likes and respects you. How do you build your credibility? You have to show your credibility, education, marketing, adding value. So during this lockdown, we've sent out amazing information on how to handle COVID policies before anybody else did, and that was through our labor consultant who generously gave them. We've tried to do as many things as possible, help job seekers, help train entrepreneurs, and everything's been done with the intention of not selling, but adding value. This is not a season necessarily to try and see what you can get. It's a season to see how much you can give, and the givers are going to be the winners, I believe. In business, each one of us has to have 10 ways in which companies can hear about us. And so many people, I think what they're doing, I always say add another 0. Whatever you're doing in your marketing, it's not enough. Response rates are shocking. 16% of people, if you are lucky, will open your email. So you might say, well, I sent it to 100 people. Well, 16 people saw it. How do you send it to 1,000? Or if you've got 1,000, how do you send it to 10,000? Your website, is it current? Does it say what you do? Are you on Facebook? Are you on LinkedIn? Each one of us needs to be on at least 2 platforms. Are you sending a really cool email to your clients at least once a month with value? Like there's something that they would want to share. I'll give you an example. At the start of the lockdown, I did 21 things that I'm going to do to make this lockdown work. Obviously thinking at the time it was only 21 days. And that went viral because I was adding value and it was personal. So I think it's really, really important to do that. Online networking, I know it's not the same. We all love to have that cup of coffee and chat, but you know what? This is the new normal and we need to embrace it. What about also connecting with clients, getting something couriered or having it dropped off at their home? If it's a good client, maybe a voucher, maybe it's some flowers, calendars, cards, a handwritten note. I think it's so important. I head up a charity and I've seen so many people volunteer and they network while helping. So they're there to make a difference, but the unintended consequence has been networking. And I really think, as I said earlier, visibility is important in this time of isolation. So what are the 10 ways in which people can see us? So at any one time in my business, there's more than 10 strategies going at once, always. And I think this is where some people got caught up. Some people thought they'd arrived. Some people were comfortable, and we've never arrived in business. I mean, my business is 26 and a half years old, and I'm working harder than ever. And it's easy because I love what I do. It's easy because I'm working in my strengths. So I think it's a good time for people to ask themselves that question. Why is it hard for me? Maybe I've lost my passion. Maybe I'm in the wrong thing, and that's okay. I love that saying, you're not a tree, move, So yeah, I think for me, the marketing has to be guerrilla marketing, using your time, using your energy, using your relationships. Business isn't about your rep dealing with their rep. It's about one human dealing with another. And I think one thing I've learned from the lockdown, Mike, is it's about being real. Saying to somebody, I've also been depressed. I've also been anxious. I'm still worried about my business. We don't want to share negativity, but we want to share, I'm a person, you're a person. So maybe before lockdown, I might have phoned, hello, Mike, it's me, Cindy, very, very official. I think now's the time to take off those layers and go, Mark, how are you doing? I've been worried about you. How's your family? Because I was thinking about you the other day when I had this challenge, and I know we've got similar businesses, and I just want to know, how are you doing? Can I help? So much better than, do you have any sales for me? I think we have to change the way we speak. We have to change what we care about.
No, Cindy, 100%. I think authenticity is everything, and I think what's important, coming back to your social media, is that don't sell on social media.
100%.
Use social media to help others, and you'll be amazed at how many people will engage with you for other reasons. And then I see too many people using social media for the wrong reason and trying to sell solutions or products. But coming back to your word positivity, now Cindy, that to me is everything as well. I mean, positivity. I have this strategy on positivity. We've got to soar with the eagles that fly high. We've got to surround ourselves with positive, like-minded people who can contribute to us, help us on our journey of success. We've got to get rid of the toxic elements around us. If it's a family member or if it's a friend, well, a friend who's negative towards you is not a friend. So we've really got to do that. We've got to, we are the sum of the 5 people that we hang around most in life with. Because whether it's a pandemic or outside of a pandemic, it's tough journey as an entrepreneur. And what we cannot do have negative influences in our life. So seek out those people who are positive, who are success-minded, who believe in you, who want to help you on your journey, and you want to help them on their journey. So that's really important. Thank you for that,
So true.
Cindy. Great insight. Now, Cindy, many staff have taken a lot of strain during this time. Do you have any ideas on how business owners and managers can motivate and recognize and treat their staff well at this year end when they might be on a tight budget?
Gosh, I do think that so many staff have really had it hard this year. We all wanted 2020, and then looking at reduced salaries is not a great feeling, is it? So many people have lost their jobs. It's been a really tough year. But I think a few pointers I'd like to say to people in this call who are managers or owners of businesses. Firstly, to understand that a lot of people have got different motivators and different hot buttons and concerns. So a lot of staff have not been at their best because they've been stressed and anxious and fearful. So it might not be a lack of passion or motivation, but it's actually due to their psychological state. Another thing I think is there are certain companies who took a knee-jerk reaction and cut salaries at a time not being sure of the future. Those companies where they've actually auto-corrected now or found a new normal, are you still cutting salaries, or are you in a position to pay your staff more, back to where they were or very close to where they were? If you've cut salaries, what can you give back? Could you let staff work from home? Could you let them work 4 days a week? Could you give them a half day? And I think these are all little things just to show, from a psychological contract, it's so important. Staff will only give to a company in direct proportion to what they believe that they're getting from the company. So if your staff feel that they've been ripped off, they're going to withhold their goodness. And it's not because they're mean, it's because they are human. So I think as owners of businesses or managers, we need to understand that. So have you chatted to your staff? A big thing at the moment is insecurity. Have you told them we're okay? Or have you told them we don't know if we're okay, but I'm doing my best? I think a lot of people I've spoken to, there's radio silence in the company. So I think it's so important. And how can you recognize people? It's not just the Christmas bonus. It's not just the money. Certain things you could do, silly things like just bringing in cake, bringing in pizza, saying to people, hey, by the way, we're closing early today, go home, spend time with your family. Having a silly thing. If you've got a sales team, put 100 Rand on the board and say the first person to make a sale gets the money. You will watch people get motivated over something silly. And I think business owners and managers need to understand that their job is to be boredom busters. They've got to create enthusiasm. So many people are doing jobs that are just mundane and not the happiest jobs. So how do you create an environment and culture where the good days outweigh the bad? And I think it is about listening. It's about knowing staff, knowing where they're at, sharing your vulnerability with them as well. Even a handwritten card and a chocolate goes a long way. Thank you for what you've done. I appreciate it. And I think there's been a real negativity coming from certain companies and many companies because the leaders are so unsure. And it's normal. We are all unsure. We've lost our trends. We've lost our pipelines. We don't know what the future holds. But I think just sort of saying we are all in it together and then showing your staff that support that they need. I think that's really important. Also, asking staff, how can I recognize you? What would you like? Because I might say, well, I'm going to take you on a helicopter flip and somebody's terrified of flying. Or I could say, I'm going to take you to the finest restaurant, whereas a Checkers voucher would go so much further. So I think it's just about being relevant and being human. And I really would love to see in the future a flattening of the hierarchy. You're a human, I'm a human, and we are here together. Your goal is my goal. The more money you make, the more money the business makes, or the happier you are, the happier we are. And I think the big part for business owners is and managers is to get rid of it's not even so much about creating the motivators, but getting rid of the demotivators. So I'll give you an example. Some companies, you have to fill in 7 forms to get some stationery. Is that really necessary? So I think it's about maybe being more flexible. It's about being more human. And it's about understanding, and maybe you might have a staff member who's supposed to come back to work and they go, I'm scared. To understand from a compassionate point of view where that person's coming from. Maybe they are scared. Maybe they're not wanting to be back at work. Maybe they have a family member with comorbidities. Maybe their health is not great. So I really think it's a time now not to just be business as usual, but to be business unusual and to be more personal. Connect with your staff. How are you feeling? Let's have a session. So I think motivation isn't only coming from money. A lot of companies don't have money, but they could say to staff, well, you know what, let's do a roster. Take a few extra days leave. You deserve it. It's been a hard year. Or we do shopping days in our company, in Christmas, we, take time off for shopping. We do what you want with the time. But maybe ask staff, if I can't give you money, what else could I give you? And you'll probably find a lot of people say, I'd love a few days off, or I'd love a day off, or I'd love to be able to do this, and I think maybe brainstorm, how do we make a great culture in our company? And, every business, I always say in my business, we're a recruitment company. If my staff leave the company at the end of the day, we have lost all our value. There's no value in the desks and the chairs and the computer. That's the value. So I think letting staff know that they are valued and that and if you love them, show them, tell them, and and I also think that humble times are good because it makes us realize that, it could even be a shared sandwich at lunch. It could be just a funny chuckle over something. So I think it's a time for people to get off the pedestals they've put themselves on and be human. Identify with other humans and just be one person helping another. How can I help you? We work together. How can I be a lekker human as such, and how can I make your day? And I think when doing performance appraisals, asking the question, how can I be a better boss? What aren't you getting from me that I need to start doing? What am I doing that annoys you that needs to stop? And I think that takes time, that takes conversations, and it takes respect. So I think this has been, to be honest with you, I think this has been the most phenomenal year in many ways. It's stretched us, it's taught us, it's just been a time of such change and growth and perspective. And but I think if I could leave one last message, and I think you touched on it, Mark, is just about being intentionally positive. Stop buying into the media. Stop buying into the rhetoric of the last 6 months. This is a whole new season. We've got 10 weeks to make a massive change. We want to finish the year strong so that we can start 2021 strong. But I also want to just say one thing. So many people are saying, in the new year, it'll change. Nothing's going to change unless you change. So just the turning over of the clock from midnight isn't going to change a thing unless you've geared yourself up, you've filled up your cup, you've appreciated the people, you've set the goals, you've monitored your mindset, you've done the work. And so many of us want the results, but we haven't done the work. Over to you, Mike.
Cindy, your words are amazing. I mean, Cindy, it's been an absolute privilege engaging with you this morning. The time is right. You are truly authentic, incredibly inspirational. And not only that, you're success-driven, you're positive, you're enthusiastic, and you've given amazing insights for many out there today who can build on to what they've done and what they've achieved in life. And like you say, 2021 is no change. We've got to conquer ourselves, and that way we can conquer the world.
Yeah.
We can't change the pandemic, we can't change economic factors, but we can change our attitude towards that and make that difference. So from the NSBC, myself to you, Cindy, I hope that we will stay close over the years, and whatever we can do for you, we're there for you. And we will find ways and how we can help you in your business. And I'd just like to give some feedback. If you don't mind me, I'd like to give all the attendees, our corporate partners, first of all, your web address. I know our team will hopefully put on the chat line, Cindy Norcott with 2 T's, .coza, or email Cindy at Proa-Point. Is that correct?
Yes.
Proa-Point.coza. And either you can go onto the website, you can go and email her, whatever it may be, follow on the blog, get her to host one of your events, anything is there for you. And Cindy, I just hope that, and I know that you will, because of your attitude, to have a wonderful closing end to 2020. And all the very best to you.
Fantastic.
And to our attendees, don't leave us. We're going to close off now, but the networking will continue. And it has been wonderful engaging with the attendees and with you, Cindy. So guys, enjoy the rest of networking, and remember what Cindy said. Go now and be positive and see how you can help others. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.